Juan, what was the stunt Hunter Biden was trying to pull off by all of a sudden showing up at the hearing on Wednesday and then Nancy Mace, the congressman from Charleston, South Carolina, called it white privilege. And then when Marjorie Taylor Greene began to talk, they bolted out of the room, and now they've still passed the resolution to hold him in contempt. What was the goal of Hunter Biden and his lawyers in that theater?
Yeah, so everyone saw that clip, and it was quite a stunt. It was funny. So if I were a Democrat, I would at least laugh. He ran away from the room when Major started to talk. Okay, funny. But at the same time, the average news watcher would have found that disrespectful. Because whatever you think about Major Taylor Greene, she is a congresswoman, and it's Congress. And of course, what the president's son is trying to do with these optics game and trying to portray himself as a person that's being persecuted is to distance himself from the reality. And the reality is that the president and his family is heavily involved in corruption. So by portraying themselves as the victims, by inverting the roles of the American people who are the true victims and putting themselves as the ones that are being negatively portrayed and attacked, they hope that they can keep the corruption allegations on Trump and not on themselves.
You know, speaking of the GOP one, Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has worked with Democrats, and this is what the American people want, cross the aisle, compromise, and he did this to avert a government shutdown. And what does his colleagues on the extreme right say? Impeach him. Let's remove him as Speaker of the House. Do they remember 2023 and the nightmare that the GOP had gone through before finally selecting a Speaker? And just because he is doing exactly what Kevin McCarthy did, you want to come back to this place talking about impeaching and removing the Speaker of the House? What are we not seeing here? What is it that they're not seeing? The fact is, or what the American people truly want. They want this compromise.
Yes, it's definitely a place that is, it's not easy, that's what I'm going to say, for MAGA Republicans to deliver their message in a House that is not characterized by a strong Republican majority. Speaker Johnson is playing the cards that he has been dealt. And the truth is that we have to compromise, or we have to be really strong and be okay with shutting down the government. For some Americans, that would be less than okay. But for the MAGA base, that would be understandable to secure funding for the border and so many other MAGA priorities. It would be okay to battle the Democrats in the House, even if it leads to a shutdown. So it's not exactly clear what the best path is for the Republican MAGA base, because on one hand, their priorities are not being prioritized by the Biden administration, but on the other, if the other outcome is shutting down and appearing weak and divided as a party, what are we supposed to do? I'm not sure. And from what it seems, Republican congressmen are not sure either.
Now, back to the Iowa debate. DeSantis has thrown everything in Iowa. He's determined to play second. Nikki Haley threw Iowa under the bus, saying when she gets to New Hampshire, you're going to correct what Iowa is about to do. In other words, she's admitting that she's not going to play second, okay? She thinks she has a chance of winning in New Hampshire. Donald Trump all of a sudden decided, well, I'm in New York. Let me just trot on over to Fox and be a part of this debate where I just talk about totally ignore my opponents. He barely mentioned Haley, and they said, why? He's up by 30 points. Listen, savage attacks on each other. And all of a sudden, Trump had something good to say about Chris Christie, because he was on the hot mic saying Haley doesn't stand a chance against Trump. It's a laughing stock. So all of a sudden he praises him there. What is this, Juan? Is this a circus?
The enemy of my enemy is my friend, right?
Yeah.
When I watched the town hall.
Oh, wait a minute, hold on. I was just corrected. Trump was in Iowa for the debate. He was not in New York. Still the same. He's too good. He stands above them to sit on the same stage with them. You know, it's like royalty. I will not be in the same room with my opponents, because, wait, they may ask me about my legal woes. They may ask me about my character. Oh, well, you don't have to worry about your character, Mr. President, because they refuse to condemn your character. That is the one place that DeSantis and Haley will not touch. Go ahead, Juan.
Yeah, so as I was saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's a very Trumpian philosophy. And last night's town hall was, as usual, hilarious. We didn't only see him say pretty words about Chris Christie after he went, well, not purposely, but the hot mic said some stuff that's not very nice about Haley. He also said the same about Hillary Clinton, who in the past he hated, but now he goes around calling her beautiful Hillary. Why? Because she's not competing. Trump knows that he's in a race against specific individuals, and when they're no longer in that race, he can become friends. He understands this very well, and it's very funny to see him do this in public, because a lot of politicians will try to, portray their politics as reality, as this is who I am and this is who I think, but Trump makes it really obvious. He doesn't like you. Why? Because you're against him. But if you weren't against him, he'll probably be okay with you.
Predictive insights here, Juan. That original doesn't change. Guys, girls, based on your expertise, Juan, what trends should we expect to see in the upcoming elections? And even with the voter sentiment, how are the recent news events influencing voters and how they look at the candidates and the issues which are more important to them, and which is why they will eventually cast a vote in the November election?
Yeah, so before I answer that question, I have a metaphor that I love to think about, which is about burgers. Sometimes you just want a Big Mac. You might have a Five Guys burger or some Shake Shack, but you know what a Big Mac is. It's been there for a while, and Trump is a Big Mac. If you offer yourself as this delicious new burger with extra cheese and double bacon, some voters are not going to care because they know the Big Mac and they're going to buy the Big Mac. Anyways, I digress. There are certain issues that will definitely play a tremendous role as the primary develops. First and foremost, I believe, foreign policy. Foreign policy usually doesn't matter that much, but now more than ever, it matters a lot. I would say it's up there with immigration and economics. As we see conflict spur in the Middle East, potential conflicts in East Asia, and even some conflict in the Western Hemisphere, all under the Biden regime. So with Haley running, who's a very traditional, some would say neoconservative option, and Trump and his traditional America First slogan, and then other candidates like Vivek Ramaswamy and Ron DeSantis acting more like Trump, although with DeSantis, he's somewhere in the middle, it seems. I believe that foreign policy will continue to play a tremendous role. And as the situation develops around the world, we will certainly see Republicans try to distinguish themselves on foreign policy.